The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Cannabis and Creative Visualizations with myself, Green Irene, here on the Pace Radio Network, as well as we're broadcasting on the CBG TV broadcasting network, Cannabis Broadcasting Group. So cbgtv.com as well as the Pace Radio Network. And I'm your host, Green Irene. Today, we're going to talk a little bit. Each of our episodes are 30 minutes long. We spend the first 15 minutes talking about using cannabis or combining cannabis with the ancient practice of meditation or self-hypnosis, if you will. This goes back a millennial or more, so it's nothing new, but the recognition of the value definitely is something. So the first half of our show, I'll spotlight or highlight a specific strain that I'm going to be using, and today I have it, and what it's really good for in combining that with the meditation. And then the second half of our show is a guided, medicated meditation. So I strongly recommend that you have your choice of strains handy. Get ready. We're going to talk a little bit. There's a really interesting school of thought that suggests cannabis consumption guarantees relaxation. And it's kind of true. This belief is that lighting a joint is going to help you chill out and get to sleep. However, there are some strains, primarily sativa dominant ones, that are more likely to put a spring in your step, get you woohoo going. Indica strains are going to help you sleep, but they're potentially sedating. So finding the right balance between relaxing and avoiding sleep isn't always easy. Hence, I bring to you a review on multiple strains each week here at noon on Cannabis and Creative Visualizations. Now, you can do some really cool things. There's some research that suggests that smoking a bowl or a blunt to relax is more than just a stereotype. There was a study that was published in the Journal of Cannabis Research a couple years ago anyway, and it discovered that the effectiveness of inhaled cannabis flower reduces anxiety, stress, and irritability. Basically, they analyzed the data from real-time cannabis effects app called the Relief app. It's free, actually. You can use it and you can download and record your own experiences if you want to check it out. If you're interested in the link or can't find it, definitely shoot me a message at greenirene.ca. Now, basically, this app helps guide you to finding out what's going to work for you and what doesn't. Keeping information like that really does help, which is why I produce the journal. Overall, the research team looked at, I think it was 2,300 admin sessions, if you will, by about a little over 600. 670 people is the number that comes to mind. 95% of the sessions, the users reported decreased stress, decreased irritability, decreased anxiety. Contrarily, there was an increase in distress-related symptoms in just about 2% of the sessions. So that's a really interesting number. Now, the research took place in New Mexico, but it's fascinating to me to see that, high THC cannabis doesn't necessarily increase the risk of anxiety. It seems probable that excessive THC consumption in general is more likely to cause you to have some heightened anxiety. Therefore, it does make sense to try and determine the optimal amount for relaxation. Now, one thing that everybody knows about cannabis is that it's dose dependent. The more you use, the stronger the effects, and it's much easier to consume too much THC when using an edible than when you're inhaling it. There is a research team that tried to investigate the ideal amount for relaxation. They took 42 volunteers who were not daily users, but familiar. And the next step involved splitting them up into 3 different groups. One group got a placebo, another group got 5 milligrams, and another 5 milligrams of THC, and the other got 5 milligrams of CBD. The volunteers had 2 using the session, so on and so forth, and it just went on and on. In the end, the stress levels fell rapidly. So what does that equate to? Well, if we take higher, let me think about this for a minute. I think it was the cannabis. The average joint is about 0.32 grams or a half a gram, closer to a half a gram. Smoking half of that would provide 9 to 11 grams of THC, assuming that a similar amount gets burnt off, okay? There's a huge amount of guesswork involved in calculating this THC content, just so you know. So you're never going to get precise figures. For instance, imagine that 0.32 grams of a joint contained 20% THC. This equates to approximately 64 milligrams of THC. Research from 1990 suggests that we consume 20 to 37% of the THC from a joint, and the rest is lost to side stream smoke and prolific destruction, right? So if we take the higher percentage, using the full joint would result in the consumption of approximately 23 milligrams of THC. Therefore, if you only smoke 1/3, you're getting about 7 to 8 milligrams, I guess, or thereabouts. They're about 7 or 8 milligrams. So 1/3 of a full joint is probably going to work just beautifully for your medication to meditate. Now, those numbers again aren't precise, but it's obvious that smoking only part of a joint is probably your best bet if you want to relax without feeling anxious, and if you want to relax enough to meditate but still have your zest and energy when you're done. Okay, you don't want to go into a full relaxation mode. So that being said, there was a study neurotherapeutics in 2015. They looked at CBD to help with anxiety disorders. Huge results. According to the researchers, CBD interacts with the serotonin 5-HT1A receptor and the CB1 receptor. So other receptors in the brain that regulate anxiety and fear-induced behaviors as well. So choosing a strain with CBD can definitely take the edge off any anxiety caused by THC. One great strain is Sweet and Sour Widow. I want to tell you quickly about Sweet and Sour Widow. This is this highlighted strain spotlight of the day. Notably, CBD is the cannabis component that remains a topic of conversation among many, many enthusiasts, including researchers, or in particular researchers. In adequate levels, it really does relieve a myriad of ailments such as overwhelming anxiety, and that can be caused by chronic levels of stress or physical pain that's brought about by aches, right? Okay. So to help regenerate lost energy or decelerate the onset of other problems, it really does ease users into a really deep relaxation that eventually leads to sleep. And this is exactly what Jamie of Resin Seeds found when he created Cannatonic, which was a pioneer strain in the field of medical marijuana. Now, in 2009, Jamie crossed that with another one, and one thing led to another, in particular, the White Widow. And essentially, Sweet and Sour Widow is just a CBD-enriched White Widow. Much like the White Widow, it produces a really thick cast of resin. It looks almost like white with the same I don't know, pungent scent of earth. And two of the major differences is the decrease of THC and the increase of CBD, with both at least a 1-to-1 ratio of each other. So the indica leaning strain is perfect for therapeutic uses. And there are a lot of people that would assume that Sweet and Sour Widow only appeals to medical users. Crap, don't believe that. On the contrary, this strain induces a beautiful, subtle head and body high that makes it really wonderful as a beginner strain for more experienced users looking to stay level-headed. So get yourself some Sweet and Sour Widow at your local dispensary. We're going to cut to a break, listen to a message from our sponsors, and when we return, we're going to get right into a wonderful guided meditation. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're watching the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com. Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com.
Are you watching television on Roku, Fire, maybe an Apple TV or even Chromecast? If you are, then download the Boxcast app and search for CBG TV.
CBGTV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com. You're watching the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com. We are the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com.
Hi there, and welcome back. I hope you really enjoyed your break. I did. The medication was beautiful. I really do enjoy Sweet and Sour Widow. It's a very nice indica leaning strain, and it's perfect. It's perfect for meditations on days like today where the weather is just, when weather comes to bother you, whether weather comes to bother you or not. That being said, let us get into a nice, comfortable state and begin our meditation, shall we? I look forward to seeing you next week. On that note, here we go. Let's begin. As you rest comfortably in the chair,
You may close your eyes or zone in on the image on the screen in front of you. If you wish to open them from time to time after they're closed, that's fine, because I really wouldn't want you to not go into trance too quickly. Easier simply to allow that feeling in a shoulder or in the hand to continue as you listen to the sounds of my voice, the sounds in the room, and the sounds outside the room, other voices, other rooms, while you pay close attention to the changes in an arm, a hand, and wonder if you're going to be able to go into a trance while your conscious mind has already begun to drift down, to let go for a time, allowing the body to relax and the mind to relax with it, without knowing at times how much more comfortable you really can become. And sooner or later, everyone's had the experience of falling asleep while watching television, paying close attention to the storyline, just closing the eyes a moment to rest quietly, hearing the music, listening to the voices in that comfortably relaxed way. When a word or a phrase reminds you of a particular memory and you drift, dream away for a time to come back to the words again, drift and dream away again, until the words and the music become a soothing sound in the background, and the mind, just for a time, and the unconscious mind continues to hear everything of importance to you, while the conscious mind may not notice that you need not listen to everything that I say, because you've known all along how much easier it is to learn something when you're relaxed. And though I wouldn't want you to relax too deeply at first, so much more important for you to recognize the small changes, the tiny changes, barely noticeable, happening in your breathing, in your pulse, in the relaxation of the face, in a feeling of comfort, security, because your unconscious will choose to relax your little finger before those feelings begin in a thumb, or perhaps your wrist will be the handiest place to begin relaxing. But the conscious mind can enjoy being curious about exactly where those feelings will begin. If you drop a pebble into a pool of water, the water flows and ripples on the surface. But just below the surface, just beneath the surface of awareness, the pebble drifts down. And as that pebble drifts down, past the water animals, drifting down past the water plants, gently floating down, nothing is disturbed as it slowly comes to rest on the bottom of the quiet pool. Even the surface ripples become slower and quieter, and beneath the surface all is still, calm. And you can recognize your ability to relax and comfortably reflect upon your problems in a certain way, remembering those times when you were sure things were one way, and they turned out to be something else entirely. Or perhaps as a child, learning that Library is really library. We're telling the difference between feet and feet, changing old beliefs and learning new meanings, new ways of doing things. And I wonder if those new feelings, those hypnotic type feelings, will stay the same or continue to deepen even more as you try to remember everything I've said to you about those TV dreams and pebbles that drift down, sometimes more quickly, sometimes very slowly. And you should know that it has been suggested by a French physician that when babies are born, they should not be held upside down in a cold, bright, noisy operating room and spanked to make them cry. Instead, they should be born into a warm, quiet room with soft, gentle lights and put into a warm bath. Because when they are babied that way, they open their eyes and look around. They seem amazed and happy. They even seem to smile. They lie there quietly relaxed, and they grow up to be happier and more secure. And because they were treated gently, protected, and taken care of, not hurt or scared, but just allowed to be safe and quiet for a while. A natural way of doing things that seems to work out well. Because almost all animals have their babies on warm spring nights when it is safe to be born, and the mother can take care of them and help them get used to things, to get their arms and the legs under control. And then they can learn to hide quietly in the tall grass, how to remain very still, even when there's danger near. And they learn to play happily, secure in the awareness that someone is nearby, protecting them, calmly watching out for them. And they become more quiet inside and out. And as they use everything they've learned, because even a brief moment can provide a lesson to be used to keep oneself calm and quiet inside, the way warm water can seep throughout a soft towel, even though only a small corner rests gently in that warm bath, where a newborn child rests and smiles with a warm glow of safe comfort. And as they get older and wiser, they seem to calm down themselves. And we both know now that you can scare yourself because you have an active mind and a reactive body. And if you think that scary thing, even for a brief moment, it has been scaring you. But we also both know that there are other things you can think that are comfortable and calming, relaxing and reassuring, thoughts or images that you can use instead to replace those other thoughts, to help yourself relax, to maintain that relaxed, calm feeling. You can let your unconscious mind learn all that it needs to know to be able to distract you from those scary thoughts or uncomfortable feelings, to be able to provide you with those relaxing thoughts and feelings of comfort. And I think that you will enjoy being happily unconcerned, unable to remember to worry in exactly the same way or at the same time. And so from now on, when you enter that situation, you can enter it knowing that you are protected and can tell that part of you that tries to do its job by telling you that there are things to be afraid of here, that you really don't need it anymore and don't want to hear it anymore. And so it can either go away or find a different game to play and remind you now instead of the good things that might happen here or the fun things that might occur later, because those old thoughts and fears aren't useful anymore. You can relax and forget it and go on about your business, surprised to discover perhaps that you have been thinking about something else entirely, and you will know at that point, deep down in every cell of your body, that you won't ever have to feel that again, that it is over and done with, more rapidly than you expected, though not as soon as you would have liked. You can do it now, and you can do it later. You can frighten yourself with a thought, or you can calmly relax yourself with a thought. That's right. So practice and choose, because it all belongs to you, and only you can help you. Help you? I'm here. And so, before you allow yourself to drift up completely into consciousness and wakeful alertness, it may be useful for you to utilize the opportunity now to think about what you've experienced, the thoughts and images and understandings, and how you might use these things later on from one day to the next, because you have an unconscious mind and you have a conscious mind, and those two minds can learn from your experiences here today. Some things that you can utilize to deal more effectively with those things that have been problems for you before. And so before you continue to drift up into conscious awareness or normal wakeful awareness, it is your privilege to use this comfortable self-awareness to become more aware of those things that you can use later on, those learnings, abilities, and skills you may have overlooked before, to give you a new view of the possibilities for a new way of thinking and feeling and doing things. That's right. Take some time now, a brief time that seems to be a long time, to review and plan at some level of awareness those things you will do later on, those things you may change later on as you begin to use more and more of you. You can use that time now, because in a few moments from now, when you drift up and awaken fully alerted, it may be interesting for you to know that in that drifting, relaxed state of mind where thoughts drift by like dreams, that enter awareness for a time and drift through the mind, while some are left behind to be used later on and remembered by others, or seem to be remembered at first, but then become more and more distant, forgotten over time, and the entire experience can become to seem so far away, as your unconscious mind protects the conscious mind and leaves those things behind, forgotten but remembered too, and time changes too, and so you can know what a trance it's been when you begin to know that what seemed to take a short time turns out to have been a long time, or what seemed a long time was really no time at all. And so for now, as the unconscious mind allows the conscious mind to become more aware of sounds in the room and the sound of my voice, the sensations in an arm or a leg, the variety of thoughts and feelings as the conscious mind drifts up and conscious wakeful awareness returns quite comfortably now up to the surface of wakeful awareness, restfully refreshed, comfortably awake, even as the mind drifts up completely and the eyes are allowed to open now. That's right, eyes open. Excellent. Wakeful awareness returns quite completely now. Yes, you can use this moment to give your body a little wiggle or a little...
We are the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com.
Through the nose.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz